ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Last night we saw how, discussed how there is a gap between our understanding and our behavior. They say walk the talk. So talk is one thing and walk is another thing. And therefore our walk has to be in alignment with our talk. That should be value number one. That what I understand should be reflected in my life. I should be able to live what I believe. So, Lord Krishna said, Arjuna, if you know the true nature of yourself, you will see that you, the self, is free from birth, death, old age, change. You are free from limitation of time, and so all limitations, you are limitless. In limitless, there cannot be any lack or want, and therefore, there is no room for any unhappiness or sadness if you saw yourself as a whole, complete being that you are. Also, in complete or whole being, in the limitless, there can be no change. Therefore, there cannot be kartrutvam, doership, bhoktrutvam, experience-ship. If kartrutva is not there, doership is not there, then there cannot be any guilt. If bhoktrutva is not there, experiencership is not there cannot be any hurt. Meaning that all this sorrow in our life is a product of taking myself to be quite different from what I truly am. In truth, I am a whole or complete being, and I take myself to be incomplete, inadequate being. In truth, I am actionless, meaning that untouched by action or experience, I am just the witness, presiding principle. I am the consciousness, that is the presiding principle, blessing principle, in presence of which everything happens, in presence of which the mind gets enlivened, the sense organs get enlivened, the body gets enlivened, the soul personality gets enlivened, in presence of which. Otherwise, this body-mind sense complex is a product of matter. The mind, sense organs are created from matter when it is in its subtle state. Same matter becomes gross, and this gross body is the product of matter in its gross state. Matter is insentient or unconscious by nature, and you find this matter in the form of mind, sense organs, body being sentient, being live, shows that there is some principle because of which there is the sentiency in the body, mind, sense complex. That is the conscious, that's what you are. Since we find the body to be sentient, we habitually take it to be ourselves. Habitually, the body is taken to be myself, the mind is taken to be myself. Therefore, all the limitations of the body and mind are imposed upon myself, and I look upon myself as a limited being. Just as sometimes looking at the mirror, I may get shocked that my face has all of a sudden been distorted. Waking up at night, traveling in a railway train in India, I go to the bathroom, look at my face, and I find it distorted. I get shocked. To my relief, I discover that the distortion is in the mirror and not in my face. But sometimes what belongs to one is superimposed upon the other. Similarly, the limitations belong to the body, to the mind, and they are limited things. And nothing wrong with them. Whatever is created is limited. The only problem is not that they are limited. Problem is I am limited is a problem, you see. That body is mortal is not a body will die is not a problem. I will die is a problem. Body was born is not the problem. I was born. I am old. I will die. Body is old. Okay. So understand that the thing becomes a problem when it gets connected with I, otherwise not. We would not, birth does not matter to us, death nothing matter to us, only when it comes to I. Except that really the death doesn't belong to I, belongs to body. I is unconnected with the body, unconnected with the mind, presiding over the body-mind complex, all right, giving sentiency to the body-mind complex, same time unconnected. As that music box, you hold it before the light, the music starts. In the music box, there is a little solar panel and gets energized when it's held against light. And so, no music when the contact is not there. Moment there is association with light, it starts playing music. All the music potential is in the box, not in the light. Although without light nothing can happen. It's a light that enlivens or energizes. So question is, who is playing the music? The box is playing the music, you can say, but without the light, box cannot play. So people think light is playing the music. Is no, music is being played in presence of light. How the box gets enlivened in the presence of light, so also this box, the body, mind, sense complex is enlivened in the presence of self, there is consciousness. But not knowing that distance, we take all limitations belonging to body, etc., to belong to the self. So create a distance. Is there. In fact, body is always distinct from the body. Self is always distinct from the body, mind, sense complex. With ignorance, we have as though removed that distance, made them one where there are two. So recognizing two as two, that's what is taught in the initial half of the second chapter. From the verse 11 to 30, in the second chapter, Lord Krishna says that the self is different from the body. And therefore, so Veda vinashanam nityam yena majam avyayam katham sa purushah partha kam ghatayati handikam. Veda avinashanam nityam ajam. When you know the self as avinashi, indestructible, nityam, eternal, ajam, unborn, meaning free from birth and death and all changes, all modifications, changeless. Then you realize that kartrutvam, doership is not in the self, it's in the body-mind complex. When you know that, then you become free from all complexes that I am the killer, I am being killed, which complexes create all this unhappiness. So this teaching is imparted. Now to assimilate the teaching, that mind must be ready to assimilate the teaching. The intellect understands this. But understand that all our life is lived by mind. All experiences happen in the mind. The one who transacts business with the world is the mind. The intellect gets the data from the mind, makes a decision, and directs the mind to do things. So mind brings all information, gives to intellect. Intellect makes the decision and asks the mind to respond. But what happens is the mind does not bring to intellect the information as it is. Mind creates its own distortion. It's raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. So this was explained with a simile, like a typical government office in India. There is an officer who makes all the decision. There is a clerk, you would approach him. Then he informs that person. He makes the decision. And again this fellow has to act. So he can put some remark. You submit your file to the clerk, he puts some remark, and accordingly the decision is made. So mind is like that clerk. All information comes, he puts remark. Desirable, undesirable, favorable, unfavorable, watch out, friend, foe, mine, yours, good, bad. Then goes to intellect. Intellect desirable, okay, get it. Undesirable, get rid of it. So mind gets it and gets rid of it. All of this is based on this wrong perception of looking upon the world as desirable, undesirable, favorable, unfavorable, likable, dislikable. I love this, I hate it. All problems at the level of mind. So as long as these distortions are there, so long this teaching that you are limitless, you are already full and complete, cannot be assimilated by the mind. And therefore, in spite of knowing this, we do not get the benefit of that wholeness which is ourselves. Therefore now, Lord Krishna prescribes a way of life, because it is a wrong way of life, meaning life based on wrong assumption has brought us to this situation. What was the wrong assumption? I am limited, I am inadequate, I am needy, I am helpless, always seeking favor of the world, of God, of everybody. So this fellow who always thought he was needy has for all this time functioned from that basis. So now we have to reverse that process and function on the platform of not needy but free from need. So every time my mind comes up with a need, I satisfy the need, what happens? That neediness always perpetuates. And neediness is such that more you try to satisfy, more demanding it becomes. It never gets satisfied. A needy person always remains needy. Only the needs keep changing. Now he needs this, you gave him, then he comes up with another need. Give him, comes up with a third need, give him. Is in the olden days where Swami used to say, a constant shruti. Behind every singer, musician, there is that tambura. Or these days you have that music box, shruti. That constant drone is going on. Similarly, constant Shruti going in mind, I want, I want, I want, I want. Now when that musician sings that raga, you don't hear that thing. But when the raga is complete, when there is space between he completed one song and another song begins, between them there is a gap, then you hear the Shruti. Similarly, when you are making an effort to fulfill the desire, the Shruti I want is not heard. Moment one desire is complete, other desire starts in between. I want, I want, I want. Meaning that this mind has always functioned on the basis of I want, I want, I want. And when I want, when I am needy, naturally my agenda is to fulfill my need. And I will convert every situation as an opportunity to fulfill my agenda. Mind is very clever. It converts every situation, anything, to fulfill what's my agenda? What is in it for me? How can I fulfill my need? That's one agenda. Lord Krishna says, if you live your life like that, agenda will never be complete. So transform the agenda. Not what I want, what can I give? Not what I consume, what can I contribute? Just turn around. This is called Pratipaksha Bhavana. Pratipaksha Bhavana means an attitude. Paksha means the position. Prati means opposite. Deliberately taking the opposite position. That's how you turn around. Deliberately take the opposite position. So far, my position is I want, I want, I want. Turn around. And your mind says I want. You say I give. The mind, because of habit, will always come up with I want. It will threaten you. You don't know what will, you don't know. That insecure mind will tell you, hey, if you start giving, what will happen? Start serving, what will happen? Then they will take advantage of you, they'll exploit you, you'll be robbed, you'll be looted, you'll be nowhere. So mind comes up with all its insecurities, all its arguments. And usually we fall for them. But now if this is clear to me, that mind comes from a wrong understanding. This mind's need is not a legitimate need, it is a perceived need. It's a need coming from ignorance and not from the reality. If the mind knew that wholeness is my nature, there would be no need. The fact that the mind looks upon itself as needy means that it doesn't know. It knows wrong, knows it wrongly. So we have to create a right understanding in the mind. And we also have to create an assurance in the mind that nothing is going to happen. You're all right. So initiate that process. Lord Krishna says, Yogastaha Kuru Karmani. Perform your actions in the spirit of yoga, in the spirit of worship, in the spirit of offering, spirit of participation, spirit of contribution. The whole world, the way the whole universe is designed is that every element in the universe participates, contributes. Everything has a place, everything has a role to perform, everything is given an appropriate function. And everything in the universe performs that function, gives its contribution, participates as it is designed to do, as it is appointed to do. So sun is appointed to function in a certain way. Moon is appointed to function in a different way. Stars, lightning, fire, torch, lamp, each one. Nothing big, nothing small. A lamp did not feel inferior because it illumines only a little bit, and sun illumines the whole world. Lamp has its own place. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna teaches the human being's big problem is comparison. I judge myself based on other people. He is doing this and I am doing this. My task is inferior, that task is superior, so I am inferior. Because my task is inferior, first of all, task is inferior. No, it's one judgment. That a person who cleans the toilet is inferior to the person who is doing business. Now that's our complex. The one task is superior, other task is inferior, is our complex. See, this complex was not there in our Varnashram Vyavastha. In Varna Vyavastha, in the so-called caste system, what the system was that all the tasks of the society were assigned to the people who were most competent to perform those tasks. It is well known that everybody is not competent to everything, but everybody is competent to something always. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, what this fellow can do, the other fellow cannot do. What a Vaishya can do, a Brahmana cannot do. Vaishya knows, where to make money, how to create from nowhere he will create a business. The people from India, they come, these Patels and the fellows, wherever you put them in a forest. He'll look around and he'll start some business. They have that insight, So, a poor Brahmana, he doesn't know what to do. He will perhaps study the text and that's what he can do. His mind only works in a certain way. A Kshatriya's mind works in a different way. So there are people whose mind works in some ways and they're good for that, good in that. You can't have a Vaishya do Vedic chanting and say that it won't work with him. You are born with talent for music, it works. It doesn't work for everybody. There is some talent for Sanskrit grammar, it works that way. Talent for science. So people have things, Who is superior? Who is inferior? Nobody is superior, nobody is inferior. Idea was a non-competing society. A society free from the idea of comparison and competition. Everybody happy doing what is assigned to them. Imagine that situation. Imagine, because competition may perhaps bring out the most from you, but it is very stressful because it is in fact based on only comparison. I compare myself with somebody. I judge that somebody better than me. I want to be better than him. Okay, that will drive me to do something. But then if I am bad, I will then compare with somebody else. And that way the whole driving will go on forever. And then what happens? At some point in time, because my need to be better than this fellow becomes so strong that I will compromise means for the sake of end. Meaning that in order to compete in my business, I will always compromise. There is always a possibility of compromising. Why are we finding now that dishonesty, corruption is growing, even in the Western society? Because now what has happened is, all easy things are all done. See, when we were studying as a Swamiji, I was not a Swami at that time, he says now simple equations, now differential equations only will work. You can't do anything without that. Whatever could be done is all done. Similarly, all simple businesses and everything is done. Now if you want to survive, you would cut the cost, you would cut the values also. Unless you are so imaginative, so innovative, you come up with something new, then it's fine. But all the routine stuff, cutthroat competition. And so you have to then cut the throat of somebody. So dishonesty will come. There is no choice to survive. What can we do, Swami? These fellows are importing from India. In India, there is all low, child labor and stuff like that. So that production cost is low. So the prices are low. Then we have to do the same thing. Otherwise, we can't survive. So one fellow is dishonest, spreads dishonesty elsewhere. This competition business is a very destructive business overall. But competition will come when artha and kama, when comfort and pleasure become the goal of life, then this will happen. In the Vedic times, the pleasure and comfort was not the goal, dharma was the goal, righteousness was the goal, punya was the goal. Meaning that I should have punya, I should have virtue, that's what makes me happy. So what makes you happy is a good question. Is it the comfort and pleasure that make you happy? Or is it punya that makes you happy? Vedanta says that you are able to enjoy something. You give me a plate of ice cream, I enjoy it. I think ice cream is giving me happiness. No! My past punya karma gives me happiness. You enjoy rasgulla, music, movie, anything you enjoy. When can you enjoy? As a result of fructification of your past virtuous deeds. When you run out of it, gone. Ice cream, sorry, diabetic. Give me all this vadai, no good, my stomach doesn't accept it. So, this simple equation is not recognized. Whenever we enjoy pleasures of the world, we are tapping into our punya karma account. You get it exhausted, that's gone. Same things are there. They cannot give you pleasure. And so in those days, the value was dharma or punya. These days, value is artha kama, because of our conviction that happiness comes from wealth and comfort and pleasure. See, the wrong assumption brings about a whole wrong system, isn't it? The right understanding brings about a right system. Why non-comparative? Because one person did not compare himself with others. This fellow, an artisan, is happy in doing what he is doing. A kshatriya is happy in doing what he is doing. Brahmana is happy doing. And see, in the olden days, there was no source of income for a Brahmana, by the way. The rest of the society supported him. And that can happen only if you live a simple life. So his life was simple. Now Brahmana also wants to live like a Vaishya. A teacher was a teacher, a poor fellow. So once our Swamiji was coming in Ahmedabad, and we went for a bhiksha to one of our students' home, very low middle class people, and all small room and seated. So Swamiji, I told Swamiji, so we are in the home of a Daridra Brahmana, I said to Swamiji, we are in the home of a Daridra Brahmana. Is a Brahmana means Daridra. But a Brahmana had no problem in Daridra because his satisfaction came from a different thing. It did not come from comfort, it came from different thing. Everybody's satisfaction came from doing well what they were doing, what they required to do. It came from the contribution that they were making, so this was not important. So whole different value structure. When that changes, why caste system will not work? Moment the value system changes, moment artha kama become important, this system won't work. This system was based on dharma, on punya, on sense of duty. This is my duty, I do that. That's karma yoga. So formally the way the society was structured, automatically people were karma yogis, meaning that they were doing what was they were appointed to do. Niyatam kuru karmatvam, do nitya karma. So karmanyavadikaraste, when Lord Krishna says, here Arjuna, perform this karma, which is your duty, which is appropriate for you, which is the right thing to do. So, our Swami says, in every situation we have a choice between what is right to do and what I like to do. Remember, understand this. What is right to do, what I like to do. For Arjuna, what is right to do? Fight this battle. What he likes to do? Go to forest. Why does he like? What is like? Like is determined by ragadveshas, understand? So whenever my ragadveshas decide what I do, I like to do what my raga says, I don't like to do when the dvesha comes. So Arjuna's decision of not fighting this battle came from ragadvesha. Lord Krishna has no agenda for Arjuna that you must fight the battle. But Arjuna's decision of not fighting the battle came from ragadvesha. Raga for what? For his cousins, for swajana, for my near and dear ones, etc., etc. So dvesha for the battle. So raga for the forest. So this decision on part of Arjuna came from ragadvesha. That was Lord Krishna's problem. Problem is that is what Lord Krishna wanted Arjuna to see. When Lord Krishna says fight the battle, it means give up your ragadvesha and do what is right to do. What I like to do is based on raga and dvesha. So what is right to do means what? I must necessarily set aside my raga dvesha. Then only I can do what is right to do. Karmanyavadikaraste, perform karma, what is right to do. A situation expects from you a appropriate response. And a Brahmana, those days it was clear. These days we have to decide what the right response is. These days the caste system etc. is not there, that's okay, but then those days were more clear. To a person, what is the right thing to do? I'm a Brahmana, I'm a Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Today we have to decide. Doesn't matter. You decide what's the right to do. According to the values. What is the right value? What's the right attitude? Be honest, be hardworking, and in this case, be selfless. So what is right to do is perform an action in the spirit of selflessness. Perform an action in the spirit of offering, spirit of contribution. All the time I've been consumer. I want. That is a consumer. To use every situation to my advantage. To use every opportunity for my personal, to fulfilling my personal agenda. That is called the spirit of self-centeredness or spirit of consumer. So now I deliberately try to use every situation for being a contributor. The one who contributes, one who offers. Mind doesn't like it. Mind always wants to consume. So we will deliberately substitute there the spirit of a contributor from a habitual spirit of consumer to a deliberate spirit of contributor. So Karma Yogi is a deliberate person. An ordinary samsara is a habitual person. Habitual means what? What the mind says he does. A karma yogi doesn't do what the mind says. Karma yogi does what is the right thing to say. What is the right attitude? Karmanyavadikaraste yogastha kuru karmani. Perform your actions with right attitudes. And right attitude is being a contributor, being a person who offers, that's just as in the whole universe, everything offers itself. So that's the basic principle of karma yoga. From being a consumer, slowly I transform myself to be a contributor. From being self-centered, I daily become other-centered. In the beginning it's difficult because the mind is very insecure. So right away it won't happen. It won't happen right away that I become a contributor. Slowly. We always say, perform just one act of kindness. Perform a small act of kindness and see how you feel. Every act of kindness, every act of contribution creates in me a self-satisfaction. When I perform an act to fulfill my desire, the satisfaction may come when the desire gets fulfilled. On the other hand, when I perform even a small action to fulfill somebody's desire, right away there is a satisfaction. Is it not so? You go out of your way a little bit to help somebody. You can see that smile on the face of that person and it gives you happiness. So, you don't have to wait for the fructification of karma phala, etc. Ma phaleshu kadachana. Don't bother about phala. Do not make karma phala your source of happiness. Make karma your source of happiness. See, this is the most practical thing. Because performing action is in my hand, is it not? I control. What the outcome will be, I cannot control. Because outcome is determined by many factors other than my own effort. There are many variables which I do not know, and so they control the outcome. So, whether I will be able to be happy as it is the outcome or not is very uncertain. But karma is in my hand. So what a wonderful thing. Lord Krishna says, rather than waiting for karma phala to give you happiness in future, which is uncertain, make your karma a source of satisfaction. How to do that? By making your karma an opportunity to contribute. Why? Because that's the spirit in the universe. That's the nature of the self. Selflessness is the nature of self, not selfishness. Because self is whole and complete and therefore there is no want, no lack. Non-violence is the nature of self. Truthfulness is the nature of self. Honesty is the nature of self. Generosity is the nature of self. And therefore, when I perform an action which is based on non-violence, truthfulness, honesty, generosity, charity, then I am acting in harmony with my own self. Therefore there is satisfaction. Whenever I do something which is against my own nature, there is going to be conflict, unhappiness. On the other hand, whenever I do something which is in harmony with my nature, there is happiness. So this is harmony. You know, everybody is conscious of this simple fact. I want to live and live happily. And what do I expect from you, you know? I expect that you should help me in fulfilling my agenda of living and living happily. I know that you also expect the same thing from me. So what do you expect? You expect me to fulfill your agenda of living and living happily. So let me do that. Then I am in alignment with the obtaining order. If I use you to fulfill my agenda, I am in violation to the prevailing order. If I become a means of your fulfilling desire of happiness, then my action is, my attitude is in alignment, in harmony with the obtaining order. So when I am in harmony with the order, harmony means happiness. Otherwise conflict means unhappiness. Meaning Lord Krishna is simply teaching the way of becoming happy, nothing else. Very practical thing. Who is interested in karma yoga? Nobody is interested. Everybody is interested only in happiness. Nobody is even interested in God for that matter, to be very frank with you. Atmanastu kamaya saram priyam bhavati. Upanishad says that whatever is dear to me is dear for my sake. Even God is dear to me for my sake. When He starts doing things that are not dear to me, I start fighting with Him. And if He does something in my life, there are people who throw away. This person is, some very tragic thing happened in his family. He took his puja out in the backyard. For 25 years I have been worshipping you. What did you do for me? So we can take exception, even God can also be out of my, what should you say,
favorable list.
Out of,
Favorable list. Out of favor. Favorable list.
Favorable list, yeah. Atmanastu kamaya. It is for the sake of self that everything is dear. Maitreyi, don't think that husband is dear for the sake of husband, dear for the sake of the self. Wife is not dear for the sake of wife, for the sake of self. And so for everybody, X, Y, Z. Whatever in the Atmastu kama sarvam priyam bhavati. Whatever is dear to me is dear for my sake. So do something that is dear to this person for his sake. And the satisfaction that comes there is what? Is a satisfaction that is pure satisfaction, meaning that costs you no money. It is as happiness accompanied with freedom. Because in giving there is no competition. In grabbing there is competition. As children, we friends used to go, in the evening for evening walks and things like that, go to garden. Before that, each one will contribute some 1 anna or 2 anna or something, and buy that mixture and take it with us. So after they were round in the garden, etc., then comes a time we sit down to share that. That shopkeeper has wrapped it in a newspaper, You open the newspaper, everybody sits around, and then you'll see that scene, that grabbing start. Because if I am not fast, the other fellow will take away. In grabbing, always competition. In giving, nobody will compete with you. Everybody is ready. No competition when there is giving. All competition when there is grabbing. Lord Krishna, turn around. So, since that act of giving happiness is in harmony with the prevailing order of the universe, therefore, it right away creates a satisfaction. A satisfaction that costs you nothing. The satisfaction that comes from others costs you something because nothing comes free. This one, so one happiness is accompanied with freedom, other happiness is accompanied with bondage. Karmanyavadika. Therefore, Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, learn to enjoy what you do. That's all. You don't need anything else. No Rasgulla is needed. Nothing is needed. Because you keep doing things constantly. If you enjoy what you do, what else do you need? Otherwise salary becomes important. Otherwise karma phala becomes important. When you don't enjoy your karma, normally what happens, karma is only reduced to a machine to produce karma phala. Usually the effort that we make, it's only intended to produce an outcome. Because outcome today is a source of satisfaction for me. Effort I do because I have to do. If I can get the outcome without effort, I will not even do that. See, if you are in a government office in India, you get your salary, nobody is going to kick you out. You need not do anything. Then people won't do. If you can get your outcome without doing anything, why should you do anything? Outcome is very corrupting. When happiness comes from outcome, corruption everywhere. When happiness comes from effort, then real production, efficiency, effectiveness will come. All that lesson is contained here. Learn to enjoy your work. How do you enjoy? By making your action a means of contribution. Right away, the satisfaction comes. What should I do? Whatever destiny brings you. What action should I perform? In whichever station of life you are. Your husband, wife, son, daughter, friend, boss, subordinate, colleague, salesman, purchase officer, whoever you are. Doesn't matter what you are, doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do with the right attitude. What is important is the attitude with which you do. You can choose what to do if you have a choice, nothing wrong in it. But we give so much importance, why this is not challenging, this is not. People get just bored in no time. Not challenging work. So today's youngsters, they just always want challenge. Keep on jumping from one to the other. It's not interesting, not challenging, not this. Well, all right, get challenged. What I'm saying is that learn to enjoy what you do. Swami, this is mechanical, this is all in, this work that I'm supposed to do is all monotonous. How can you enjoy it? It's up to us to make any task enjoyable. Swami used to give an example of a traffic policeman in Delhi whose job is to guide the traffic. Whole day, this is a kind of very, what kind of job is this? But this fellow made it an interesting job. He converted it into a dance, Enjoy what you do. But he dared to transfer him because the traffic stopped. Actually what happened is, because of this thing, everybody was watching him. So he dared to transfer him. That's a different thing. But how to make even this kind of a task interesting, enjoyable? It's up to us to make a task interesting. Cooking can be a very enjoyable task, or it can be a drudgery. Every day, same thing, Swamiji, same tutor. It can be. Or you can have your creativity expressed in your cooking. Cut vegetables in different ways, this way, that way, I don't know. Do some little different spicing, give different colors, add some tomato, that, this, that, whatnot, People make, for example, salads. And what an artistic work. How they arrange the salad, how they cut what do you call it, the different vegetables. Give different shapes. You enjoy that. So, it is up to us. See, puja also becomes a drudgery every day, same Swami mechanical thing. It will. So, it's up to us to make it interesting. So that is why, offer Abhisheka of different materials, chant different stotras, they make different garments and different ornaments and take interest in what you do. If you have a choice, you can always choose to do different things. Nothing wrong in it. But sometimes, this is what we have. You are a housewife, you are a farmer, you are this, you are a merchant, you are a shopkeeper. What will you do? Every day, same thing. Your choice to get bored, or your choice to make your work interesting and enjoy it. But basic what Lord Krishna is teaching is learn to enjoy what you do. And it will become enjoyable by changing the attitude. When you have the attitude of helping, serving, giving, offering, contribution, is that attitude that gives you happiness. Karmanyavadhikaraste, and that is your duty. Arjuna, you need to do this to transform your mind. You know, with this attitude, the ragadveshas cannot survive. What I like to do is ragadvesha. What is right to do is this attitude. So every time mind comes up with what I like to do, you say, no, this is right to do. Mind says, I like to do. You say, no, this is right to do. You have to be alert. I have a substitute. What is right to do? Right to do. You know what will happen? In course of time, the mind will start liking what is right to do. That's a secret. Our Swamiji's experience, of Kerala with bitter gourd. Swamiji did not like at one point in time Kerala, bitter gourd. Who likes it? You avoid. But when he was remembered Viksha, that Punjabi hostess, she had made Kerala, they are very fond of Kerala. And the Tamilians, these fellows are fond of Kerelas, In Tamil Nadu, the way they make this bitter gourd is so bitter, it's real bitter. In Gujarat, when they make bitter gourd, all bitterness goes. They first of all soak it in salt and things like that, and then later on put enough amount of jaggery. It becomes like a sweet dish, But not in Tamil Nadu, it is bitter. So he didn't like it. But then it was made, it was served. You are a Swami, you can't say I don't like it. So Swamiji's policy is deal with unpleasant first. See, this is the attitude in life. Deal with unpleasant first. Because what happens is, we keep on postponing unpleasant. And we do the pleasant things. That's why the dessert is at the end, not in the beginning. Some children want dessert in the beginning. So wait a minute, you have to wait for the pleasant at the end. In order that you can enjoy pleasant later on, deal with unpleasant first. In our day-to-day routine also, this rule is good. What you don't like, finish it first, so that you are left with what you like. So Swamiji said, okay, let me do the unpleasant first. So he finished Kerala, finished bitter gourd. And the Indian women are always watching, right away. They don't even ask you. Without asking them, they just, you liked it, finished. Poor Swami could not say anything, You can't say, I don't do that. Swami can't behave like that also. So 3 or 4 helpings they finished. But that did not get over that day. Next day, Bhiksha again. So that person asks, what does Swamiji like? Oh, Swamiji loves bitter. So bitter gourd is ready to welcome wherever Swamiji goes. For 15 days, lunch and dinner. So what happened is, in 15 days, he started liking bitter gourd. That's how the mind is. Similarly also, what is right to do, what I like to do. Mind thinks that it can enjoy only what it likes to do. No. You substitute right to do, right to do, right to do. A time will come when the mind will enjoy what is right. Then your job is done. Up to that we have to make an effort until the mind starts enjoying what is right to do. So it's Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? It's a yoga. Yoga of attitude. Complete transforming the mind. From old ignorant mind to the new enlightened mind. with the right attitude. That right attitude is conducive to discover the truth about the self. With wrong attitude, you are against the reality. You can never discover the true nature of reality. So we said that living a life in harmony with the self. When shall we one day even know the self? When we are in harmony with the self, not when we are in disharmony. So attitudes born today of raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, are in disharmony with the self. With that mind, how can you ever expect to experience the self or discover the self? So mind is experiencing faculty, not intellect. Intellect is not experiencing. Intellect can keep on arguing. That sweet is no good, this is no good, that is no good. But my palate says that is only good. So, what Swamiji, what you like is no good for you, but that's what I like. And thus complete turnaround. You start liking what is good for you. No, that takes a long time. It likes this? No, no good for you. Take this? I don't like it, good for you. I want this? No good for you. Take this. So again and again when we keep on replacing the attitude, substituting what is right to do. And the right attitude, what's right to do is being contributor. What I like to do is being consumer. What is right to do? Be a contributor. It's a long process. When will happen, Swamiji? It will happen someday. But the beauty about the whole thing is that every time you do what is right to do, right away you have satisfaction. Because you did what is right to do, it creates an inner satisfaction. So whenever Lord Krishna says that slowly karma yogi starts becoming free. So a time comes when slowly the raga dvesha start going. And therefore you will develop vairagya. So Lord Krishna says, Tasmad yoga yujasya yoga karma sukausalam karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishana janma bandha vimuktaha padam gachanti namyam yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyaritarishyati tada gantas nirvedam shrutavyasya shrutasya cha. You know, with this process, Lord Krishna says, Arjuna, the fascination that you have for the things will slowly start dropping off. Right now, mind is superimposed. In Vedanta, they call it Shobhanadhyasa. What is Shobhanadhyasa? Superimposing beauty where it is not. Superimposing desirability where it is not. I call this desirable. There is nothing desirable in an object, it is my perception. So I first call it desirable and then I want it. With this process, slowly as the mind discovers internal satisfaction, it's a process of progressively discovering inner satisfaction, inner comfort. Right now, as we said yesterday, I am not comfortable with myself. With this process, we start discovering comfort with our own self, satisfaction with our own self, acceptance of our own self. Then that superimposition of desirability will slowly start going, meaning that the mind that sees happiness out there will discover that happiness is in me. That's how that fascination goes, the attachment goes, the aversion goes, ragadveshas go. Tada gantas nirvedam, you'll discover vairagya, discover freedom from raga and dvesha. Shrutavyasya shrutasya cha. So what is to be heard, what you already, meaning that from all the objects, slowly that fascination will drop off. See, Karma Yoga is the process of progressively discovering inner satisfaction. That's where the test, that's where the proof is. How do you know, Swami, this is working? Right? So how do I know, Swami, that I'm happy? So you don't need to ask anybody, how do I am happy? It's an immediate experience. Thus, with this change of attitude, you discover yourself to be a happier person, more satisfied person, more contented person, which is what we want in life. So then comes the time when the mind is ready to discover the fact about the self. Shruti vipratipannate yada sthasati nischala samadhavachala buddhi tada yogam avapsasi. Lord Krishna says that in this process, slowly and slowly, as the ragadveshas go, mind becomes more and more focused, more and more steady, becomes inward looking, becomes fit for recognizing the true nature of the self. And that's how you will gain the self-knowledge. You will gain abundance in knowledge. You will become Sthita Prajna. So thus, Karma Yoga, through steps, leads us to the ultimate goal of life, through the knowledge. Mind becomes fit for knowledge, and through knowledge you gain the ultimate objective of life. So this is the Karma Yoga. To be able to assimilate what the intellect understands, to assimilate and make it a reality, to experience what you understand, is the purpose of this yoga of transforming our mind. Then comes the next question of Sthita Prajna. But then Karma Yoga leads us to that. So this morning we'll conclude here, and if you have any questions, please let us know.
Swami, you said that walking and talking should be in alignment with each other, and many of your students does that. And sometimes, other people, the whole society is not like that. They don't have this knowledge that it should be in alignment. And those people are seen as a successful people. I don't know whether they're happy or not. So how you will explain them that they are successful, or the person who has this alignment, they see themselves as a failed person? Is this the right thing to do, that walking and talking should be always be in alignment, or to survive in this society, once in a while you are allowed to break that when you face this kind of people in the society? So can you please explain about that?
Right, that's a very valid question. The question is that there are people who follow the values, who cross the T's, dots the I, as they say, Dotting the I, crossing the T, means doing what is appropriate. And they seem to have difficulties in functioning as against other people who may compromise the values, who may be aggressive, who may be hurting others, who may be able to fulfill, their agenda at the cost of other people. So how do you survive against them? You find that they are successful, and those who stick to this dharma or the moral values, they often finish the last. So what do? We have to choose now whether we want dharma or we want that success, a choice. What brings about happiness? It is, as we said, happiness is the result of harmony between my behavior and myself. Therefore, all these moral codes of conduct are based on the nature of the self. And when we follow them, there is harmony within myself. But now what happens is that we follow the dharma all right, but at the same time we want to be like other fellows also. So we have two things. We value for dharma also, and we value for the so-called success. Sometimes they don't go together, you have to make a choice. But as I said, success is the result not necessarily of compromising values. We think that people compromise values are successful. I don't think that's a rule. From policemen to the politician, everybody is corrupt. Doesn't mean they're all wealthy. No. It's not a rule that a person who is aggressive, a person who is hurtful, and because of aggressiveness, because of the collage of values, they're successful. Maybe there's something else. Understand that for being successful in the world, you require many things. You have to be world-wise, you know. You need to have inside certain skills. Somebody says, Swamiji, this fellow gets promotion, I don't get promotion. All that I say, do you play golf with your boss? He says, no. He goes and drinks in the evening with his boss. He plays golf with his boss. I said, that's part of the skill. You know, the thing is, to be successful, I mean, this is a very gross example of what you need in this world in order to be successful. But you need other skills also. Not only technical skills you need social skills also. And therefore, our Swamiji says, you know, this fellow complains that I lost my job and my brother-in-law did not lose the job. How come? Your brother-in-law, why did he not lose the job? He says, well, why? Because my brother-in-law has a godfather. That is a qualification. He says, you know, after all, there also is a qualification. So the thing is that we have to learn to get satisfaction from what we are doing. Too much emphasis to the outcome. Too much success is measured always by outcome, not by the effort. Lord Krishna says, measure your success by effort, not so much by outcome, because you do not control the outcome. There are many factors which are not in your control. You just don't know. Boss just doesn't like you. I don't know why. You have a different skin color. Your accents are different. But in India also you belong to this caste, in that caste, there are all groups there, everywhere. You don't belong to that group. It's a disqualification. So recognize the dynamics of a place and see how things are. And okay, I'm working here. This is what is going to happen. This is what I can expect. And settle account with that. Develop a comfort with what is. And as I said, may your satisfaction not totally be derived from the so-called outcome. May also you learn to derive satisfaction from what you do. That's what is in your control. And of course, for functioning in the world, you need skills, no doubt about that. And we may not have them. Some people are very smart. They can sense things that are going on about themselves, what other people are talking about them, what the boss thinks, what they do. All kinds of things are there. We are so busy doing this that we don't know what's happening around us. Other fellows are smart. They may not do much, but they are smart. And so, this conflict has always been there. But this is how we are. Even if you want, you can't be that smart. You are good at this. Even if you want, you won't be able to play golf. You can't drink beer. You can't do things. What will you do? Accept it, that's what I am. And therefore this is my ceiling. Not because of my lack of efficiency or technical skill, but because of the other aspects of everybody has a certain personality. And so not only you need different kinds of skills to function in the world, to be effective or to be successful in the world. Everybody doesn't have everything. Okay? So there are many people who don't have what I have also, and they are where they are, I am where I am, and other people are where they are. Okay, God bless them. So rather than, and who knows they are successful because of what? As I said, all of this comes because of past punya. That's all. ultimately, and therefore maybe they have accumulated some punya in the past, and so they are getting result of that. Is that? And we are accumulating punya by doing good work. The result will come if it has to come. Otherwise, I don't know. That itself is the result that I am doing good. And so I understand this issue. But this person, even if he was dishonest, he would not have succeeded anyway. Because success requires not only dishonesty, requires many other things which you don't have. Business skills, they're there. I mean, everybody doesn't have that. Technical skills people have. They come with new ideas, So, people have what they have. Everybody doesn't have that. We recognize what we have, respect ourselves for what we are, and then be happy with what we get. Yad labase nij karmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. Says Shankaracharya, whatever you get by your honest effort, be happy with that. But at the same time, even to survive you require certain skills. And do the best that you can do. What else can you can't do better than best anyway. It's okay, this is what it is, that's what, accept it. That's what I am. The problem is not anybody else. I am the problem for myself. It is the problem of self-acceptance. When the world treats me in a certain way, I start believing that I am no good, and therefore I take that blame upon, I start blaming myself, I start judging myself, and therefore I start disapproving myself, and that's what the problem is. Problem is not what that fellow says to me. Problem is what I say to myself. When he says you are stupid, I said that's his opinion, no problem. But when I start saying I am stupid, that becomes my problem. Because I already have a very low self-esteem about myself. Already I am judging myself that way. And then when somebody says, right away pushes the button. Our Swamiji says, 4 fellows are going. You call them. Hey Sridhar. Sridhar looks back. Hey Devadatta. He looks back. Vishnumitra. He looks back. Stupid. All 4 look back. That's what people think about themselves, So this is what our basic problem is our discomfort with our own self. Low self-esteem, lack of self-acceptance. We have to settle account with ourselves. Recognize for what we are, that we are a limited being. We don't possess everything. And therefore, this is what I am. It's quite all right to be what I am. So problem is not this world, problem is not success, problem is self-acceptance. That's the problem. And everybody has it, and that's what we have to look at.
Swamiji, we spoke about judgment, and judgment was not going to help us in any manner. But when people are in positions as managerial positions where they have to analyze, not necessarily be judgmental, because they have to get the work done, analyze and figure out what the problem is or anything else. What is that soft line between judgment versus analysis? How is it that you can differentiate that and not create a judgment out of it, but just keep it to the analysis?
So when you are in a managerial position, let us put it, be objective. That's the expression. Be objective. What is being objective? Meaning that as best as possible, do not bring raga dveshas into situation. So we have to observe our mind. Mind is what it is. It always bring raga dveshas in it. There's their own personal agenda. And regardless of what you do, something will be there. But still, as best as possible, being objective meaning not bringing our personal raga dveshas, personal agenda into the picture, which everybody has. Everybody wants to exploit every situation to fulfill the personal agenda. So manager also has an agenda. and wants to fulfill through somebody, then you are not objective. Then you are likely to be, your judgment is likely to be distorted and likely to do injustice to somebody.
Is there a way to, are we on the right path? Or are we making progress?
Say that again.
How could we tell we are making a progress towards spiritual learning or spiritual growth? Are we on the right path and making progress towards the right direction?
Good. So how do we know that we are making progress on the spiritual path? They said one simple measure is how happy you are, how you derive satisfaction from your own self, how comfortable you are with yourself. That's a simple thing. So even when I am worshipping God, ultimately it gives me happiness within myself. So Karma Yoga is a yoga of attitude, is meant to discover happiness with myself. So all spiritual things ultimately are meant for discovering happiness with myself. In very simple term, practical term. Now happiness coming from something else is one. Happiness coming from myself is another one. So a samsari is the one who is searching for happiness from something else. A spiritual person is one who is seeking happiness from his own self. And that's our criterion. But again, don't be too hung up about progress and stuff like that. Karmanyavadikaraste. Do what you have to do and do what is right to do. Am I making progress? Leave it to him. Ma phaleshu kadhachana. That is to be left to him. And I do what I have to do. And as sincerely I do what I do, I will discover satisfaction from what I do. So suppose bhakti is my path. Then also, what is bhakti means? My offering to the Lord. Make it as interesting or enjoyable as you can. So whatever you do, try to make it as enjoyable as you can. Let that become the source of your happiness, satisfaction. So we don't have to wait for the outcome. What we want is happiness. It comes from karma. Why worry about karma? That's what Lord Krishna says. Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Make karma your source of happiness. Phala, don't worry. Comes in future. Unfortunately, we are oriented always to look at karma phala as a source of happiness. That's our orientation. He wants to change that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, the perception that we all deal with, that Bhagavad Gita is only relevant to people that have finished their karma yoga after retirement. How do we overcome that? Because it's
Yeah,
a
that
global question.
global question, that Bhagavad Gita, all spiritual pursuit is meant for people who have nothing else to do. In short.
They're finished with their karma yoga.
Finished with everything else. So when people when retire, typically in India also so when they retire, go to sannyas ashrama, start attending talks there. So that's the perception. That's the perception that our Swami Chinmayananda, he wanted to change that. That he wanted to bring it out to the people that this is meant for living life. Neither Arjuna is retired nor Lord Krishna is retired. Both are very active people, None of them is a sannyasi also. So that is meant for sannyasi also is not right, for retired also is not right. But it's an impression that all scriptures are meant for that. For people, who have nothing else. So we will study after retirement. Our Panduranga Athavaji was writing in one place, that this young man comes with his bride for seeking blessings. Dada, give me blessings, I'm getting married. All that very good, he gave the blessings. Said from now on, do one thing, every day, read this much portion of the Gita. We have enough time, Dada, for that kind of a thing, enough time. Same man comes back after 1 year, says, I've got a job, now I have life insurance. What is the life insurance policy? Why life insurance? In case something happens to me, then what? So when it comes to Gita, it can wait. When it comes to life insurance, something can happen to me now, So this is a perception, you're right, unfortunate perception. But somehow Christians, they start teaching Bible right from the young age. The Bible reading classes and things like that. So I don't think Christianity is a perception that religion is meant for retired people.
Only among the Hindus.
Most amazing. Hinduism, Hindu Dharma is sannyasi oriented, that they don't want sannyasi. So they used to say, I'm happy with my neighbor's son being sannyasi, not my son. So people sometimes bring their own young children to the classes, to Swamis, because they have a problem with the children, so Swami will help them. When the children start liking this, then they get threatened. Then stop coming. So it's amazing how in India, in this culture, it is so gross and so materialistic. We like to call Western people materialistic, but then, I think Indian people are out of stupidity. There's no understanding of what it is that, we have to derive from this. So Bhagavad Gita everybody has, but it's in puja room. Nobody opens that. So you're right, it is a wrong perception. And the people who need to know, they never come to the classes anyway.
Offer them free food. That's what you do.
Yeah. Offer them food. That's the way. Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll come there.
Do you have to be religious and believe in God to be
Spiritual.
righteous person and do the true karma yogi?
Do I have to be a religious person and believe in God to be a righteous person? To be a karma yogi, yes. To be karma yogi, God must be there in your life. To be a righteous person, meaning to be, perhaps you can, as far as the moral values are concerned, it's possible that you may not necessarily involve God in your life. You can still be, if you still believe in being a truthful person, honest, etc., it's possible. There are people who say, I don't need Bhagavad Gita. I know karmanyavadhikarasya. I don't cheat anybody. I don't tell a lie. I'm a karma yogi. That's not karma yogi. But that's so having moral values definitely is an advantage. It's not enough. That's starting point, not the concluding point. For being karma yogi, you must have the right attitude. The right attitude which arises on account of understanding the scheme of things. So why should I have the attitude of being a contributor when I understand the scheme of things? How the universe is designed, how it is created, how the spirit of contribution pervades everything. So it is basically karma yoga means, although we have not explained it that way, it means performing action as an offering to Ishvara. That's what traditionally karma yoga means. But when you perform action with this attitude, it becomes an offering to Ishvara because he is of the nature of that order. But Ishvara and understanding is very important. And why should people have problem with Ishvara? I do not know. Our Swami says anybody who has problem with Ishvara has problem with his father, Because father in heaven. So if you have problem with this father, you have problem with that father also. Very often. But a person should have an open mind and not conclude, not have an allergy for the word Ishvara. That is a closed mind. For being a righteous person also, it is important to be an open-minded person anyway in life. Not close the mind to anything. Not believe for the sake of believing, not swallow what you are told, but at least use an open mind to understand.
Swami, it's my discussion with our children, my son. So, discussing that, okay, God is in everyone, then the question naturally comes like, okay, it's becoming hard for me to explain like that logic, because then the thief also has a God, is that, terrorist also has a God. So how do we explain or make sense that?
Yeah, so when you say God is in everyone,
Same Atma in everyone.
then why doesn't God stop the thief from doing what he's doing? Why doesn't God stop a terrorist from doing what he's doing? The natural question. Meaning God should do what I want him to do. I don't want a thief, so I want that God also should not want a thief. God is not supposed to, or not obliged to function according to my ragadveshas, He is without ragadveshas. But it's difficult to explain to the child, but put it this way, that look, my child, look at the thief. The thief also is not his ultimate nature. See, within him, he is also a father, he is also a son. So with his son, he is a kind person, a loving person. So a person who is cruel in his behavior outwardly, in the core, that person also has love and kindness. So that's the true nature of that person. Now how to explain cruelty? Cruelty is because of his wrong upbringing, wrong company, wrong training, wrong understanding, wrong education. So whatever evil we find is because of other reasons. But even an evil person also, within there, he is a good. So we have to make him see that there is no person like a thief. Person is always good. Thief is incidental because of his circumstances. So tell him a terrorist, how terrorists are created, how they are brainwashed, how in their born they are not like that. And they are taken into training camps and whatever it is. And so, when we tell them how a person becomes a thief, becomes a criminal, becomes a terrorist, many factors contribute into that. So, real person becomes concealed, hidden. But even a very cruel person also, when something happens to his son, even Ravana also is very cruel, but when his son died, you see him crying, weeping. That means that is there at the core, and that's the true nature. That's how we can explain. So, shall we conclude this morning? I saw you looking at the watch. No? Yeah, it's right there. Yeah, okay. I'll complete the prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.